Let's talk more on the feelings, because, for instance, yesterday we had the governorship candidate of Abia State, and he reeled out so many other issues bordering his state. For you in Ogun State, what would be that thing that you think that this particular administration hasn't actually touched that the people would love you to fix, or you think you can fix?
I think the first one is, the most important one is education. I mean, that is the future. That is the best legacy we can leave for the generation coming behind. And if you are saying that the essence of all of this, being participating in politics, is to do better for people coming behind us, then we cannot afford to ignore that sector. And that sector has been completely ignored by this government. And I think that
you say completely.
Yes.
Let's talk more on that.
Yeah, because let's take it from the primary schools. At the primary school level, there are cases that even schools cannot write exams, even ordinary short people, teachers cannot get. Right now, even the motivation of teachers is now near zero, because deductions are not paid, and there are a lot of complaints about this. Infrastructure is nil. When you go to tertiary institutions, all the tertiary institutions that we have in our state, there is no single additional infrastructure that has gone into any of these institutions in the last 4 years of this administration.
Is that really a statement of truth? Because if there's any state that we've covered extensively, it happens to be Ogun State. I mean, there have been schools built, there have been roads being, if there's anything that people...
I'm talking about schools now. We'll come to roads. We'll come to roads.
Okay, just a moment then. I'll let you get to roads. But there have been schools built. You talked about deductions. Deductions are not the same thing with their salaries. Salaries are being paid. And if there's any area where the governor of the state had a battle, it was with the mission schools when they were taken over by the state government, saying that they want to ensure that every child in Ogun State has access to education. We don't know how that is eventually resolved, but at least it would seem that some moves were made in the area of education.
What we have about the schools being built, I mentioned, is the so-called model schools that have been built in, I call them bushes and forests, all over the state.
Some infrastructure,
model school, I'm coming. Those model schools can accommodate about maximum 1,000 students, even if they are fully built. What we are saying is that we have schools, we have other schools in the state that runs to about 700 plus, whose infrastructures are fully dilapidated. And I think that the cost of each of these schools being built is about 1.2, 1.3 billion naira. And what we are saying is that even half of those schools, which at the end of the day will accommodate just about 1,000 students, even half of those resources, if you use it in all the existing schools that we have, we will be able to have very modern schools with a lot of infrastructure that will take care of quite a lot of people. And all of these ones we are talking about that have been where they put this so-called model schools, none of them have been completed. So it is not really an addition to the schools, to the students now, because they are not even enjoying it. It's not about going. What we are talking about is that you cannot put a state on a regime of wastages that we have now. What is the essence in going to all those remote areas and villages to go and put this kind of model schools that cannot even complete,
so
when there are a lot of dilapidated years?
Are you saying then that if you're elected governor, you're going to abandon that because you don't believe in it, or you do not see the essence of it?
A government will take over assets and liabilities. The fact that I'm not convinced that that is the right way to go now does not mean that it will be abandoned. A government takes over assets and liability, whatever it is. But what I'm saying is that if I were to take that decision, I won't go and be taking 1.2, 1.3 billion naira to build so-called model schools in bushes and forests all over Ogun State, when I have thousands of others, hundreds of schools who have no roof, no desk right to sit down, and all of that. What is the point in me going to borrow to build those kind of schools in those locations when I can use even half of that to take care of so many schools? That's the point. Well, so it is not that it will not be used, or it will not be completed, or it will not be put into proper use, because again, on assuming office, you are supposed to take over the assets and liabilities. But what I'm saying is that decision on its own is not.
Well, the decision has been taken. I think that the people of Ogun State will be able to decide whether or not you know, vote, their votes will matter in that area. But let's talk about roads. You say that, you know, the current administration doesn't have vision. So that's
Doesn't have vision, yes. Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
But some people will disagree with you. I mean, in terms of roads, for instance, initially you did not agree that there was any infrastructure added to the schools.
In the schools, yes.
Yeah, but now, what about roads? I mean, that's something that is definitely obvious. We can see that.
Even about roads, this is the situation. In the first instance, you do not embark on this kind of project without taking into consideration fully the resources available to you and other alternatives. The cost of this road to the state, even in terms of amount, it costs to about 1.2, 1.3 billion naira per kilometer.
So let us agree, you do see roads as well.
Sorry?
Do you see the roads as well?
Yes, I see roads, but I'm telling you that, you know, the point I'm telling you that the cost of those roads to us and the vision behind it is not strong enough, because and that's what I'm making. Number one, when you look at the cost of these roads, to me it's on the high side, and that has been established in the debate that I had with the governor a while ago. The second point that needs to be mentioned is the wastages. Look, there's one of the roads, for instance, there's one called Oloshogo Road, where the government awarded it to one contractor at the initial stage, spent almost 500 million naira, and then have to re-award it to someone else. All of these roads now, there's no single one of them that has not been abandoned, because again, the cost of them and the high cost and the borrowing that goes with them and the resources of the state does not support that quantum of road being built all at the same time. And then the third one again is when you look at even the nature of the road and then the quality. Yesterday I was in Ijebu, the bridge on the express. A side of it was shut down because the road is almost collapsing. This is a road that was built less than 2 years ago. You can send any of your camera to that particular road, and you see what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying in essence is that, of course, infrastructure is good. There's no problem with the road, but I think that a government that has a vision should really have planned this a lot more. There was also the issue of when they started, the first thing they did was to put flowers all over the place in Abeokuta. Within a space of 3 months, all of this, and it cost about 500 million naira. Within a place of about 3 months, all of these were removed, and they said they want to turn it to a 10-lane road. That's wastage on our side. They look at the cost of the roads, like I said. They look at the alternative of the resources used for those roads. The alternative, for instance, in the area of education that is not done, in the area of health, in the area of employment, and some of those kind of things. So what I'm saying is that even if we are going to do roads, which is fine, I think that it should have been better planned. I think that the cost should not have been that much, and I think that the alternative cost to us of embarking on this is too much, and I think that we cannot embark on all of these things without taking into consideration the things that are very important to the people.